Hi there. As part of Team Oxygen Addict's collaboration with Ironman Europe, we've been sent a bunch of questions by athletes looking for advice on completing their first Ironman. So let's get right to it. Question from Victor Jakimic. How long should the preparation for a full Ironman be? I like an athlete to think of a build to an Ironman as being 36 weeks long, and we'll break that down into two distinct blocks. The first block, the off-season block, is going to be 16 weeks long, where we're going to focus on building specific bike power that's going to help you go faster for the same effort next year. We're going to focus on steady running, we're going to focus on technique-based swims. The next 20-week block is going to be your specific Ironman build. And that's the phase where we're going to take all the fitness you built in the winter and we're going to help you be able to go further rather than looking at going faster. So it's improving your endurance during that 20-week block. Now, this method is very specific to Ironman racing because it means the sessions gradually get longer as you get closer to your Ironman race day. And that's the most specific for your Ironman race day because the challenge for everybody come race day is being able to go the distance. It's not being able to go fast enough to cover the distance. So as we gradually get towards Ironman race day across that 20-week build, we're gradually going to extend out the length of your long run, extend out the length of your long ride, and extend the length of your long swim so that come race day, you're totally confident in your ability to ride 180 kilometers, to be able to run a marathon, although I won't have you run that far in training, and to be able to swim 3.8k. But in short, the answer there is we're looking for 36 weeks ideally, broken up into a block of 16 weeks of off-season build and 20 weeks of specific Ironman build. Question from Sophie O'Brien, heart rate or watts for the bike? I always advise athletes if they possibly can to get a power meter and to learn how to use it because it makes training and racing incredibly accurate and it can remove an awful lot of the guesswork from your training and racing. Now, to be clear and expand on that, heart rate data is valuable as well, and in an ideal world, we'll have you use both of those. And if you haven't got a power meter, that's okay. Heart rate can still be a really good guide. But some things to be aware of. Your power meter is going to measure effectively the output of your body, how hard your body is working right now. Heart rate will give you a lead towards this, but it's also affected by 4 factors. It's affected by the heat that you're experiencing, if it's a hot day. It's affected by dehydration. It's affected by how excited you get. And it's also affected by caffeine that you might have taken in. So sometimes your heart rate, especially on race day, can give you the impression that you're working harder than you actually are. A power meter isn't affected by any of those things, and it's going to give you a really clear view of how much effort you're actually putting in. And it's really common on race day when people are excited for them to not feel as though they're working very hard. And the effect of adrenaline is making you feel like the race is really easy and you could ride at this pace all day. Power meter is going to be telling you actually you're putting out much more power than you mean to at the moment, so to ease back on that power. So if you have the choice, I would definitely say use power as your main metric and heart rate as a backup to that. Keep an eye on what's going on with your heart rate, but always use your power meter as a measure of what output your body is doing at the time. Okay, question from Majlant. How important is fast-paced running intervals compared to zone 2 runs? I actually advise age groupers to not do any fast-paced run intervals at all preparing for an Ironman. The reason for that is the success for your Ironman training is going to come about by you being able to train consistently day after day without getting sore and without getting injured. And for most athletes, the biggest risk of injury comes about by doing fast run intervals. Also, for most Ironman athletes, you've got to remember that the run that you do on race day is going to be slower than most of the aerobic easy runs that you do in training. So let's make your running as specific as possible to your Ironman. We will have you do some interval training as part of your training for Ironman, but we'll do it where it's safest. And that means we'll do the interval training on the bike. You'll get all the benefits of the heart and lungs and blood improving that fitness to deliver oxygen to your working muscles with none of the risk of the injury that is brought along by fast or hard running intervals. Okay, a question from Steve_Ryan. What would you train over winter? I think the way to think about how to structure your winter training is consider how to get the best bang for your training buck. What training can you do that's going to most directly improve your Ironman performance come the summer? And for most people, that's going to be improving their bike fitness. Firstly, you're going to be spending most of your Ironman race day on the bike, so an improvement in your bike fitness is going to directly affect how much you can reduce the amount of time you're on the bike on race day. But secondly, that aerobic fitness gain you get on the bike is going to have a direct knock-on to improving your run fitness as well. The aerobic fitness improvement is really going to improve your running. So the way I generally advise athletes to structure their winter is, firstly, let's get 3 bike training sessions a week in the diary. We're going to have 2 interval sessions and 1 longer aerobic ride. The 2 interval sessions are going to have some intensity in them, and that's what's going to increase the size of your overall aerobic engine. But that's okay. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to have a great effect on your ability to ride faster come the summer. Because you're doing all your hard work on the bike, all of your runs can be relatively easy or steady runs. So I'd advise 3 runs a week, all of them easy or steady. No interval training on the run at all. Just go out and enjoy your running. Enjoy the scenery passing by, okay? And with swim training during the winter, a lot of that's going to depend on the access you have to a pool. But in general, I would advise you to focus on improving your swim technique so that you can directly apply more force to the water. I don't think it's a time of year to be doing endless yards and ingraining bad technique if you are not already a good swimmer. Use that time to do specific swim drills that are going to improve your swim stroke and mean that you move faster through the water for the same amount of effort come next springtime. Question from Nedge C. Bauer. Any recovery tips between sessions? So, 4 things that are really going to help you recover faster between sessions. First one is try and get as much extra sleep as you can. If you can dedicate an hour of your night to getting an hour's extra sleep, that is going to do more for helping you recover for the next day's sessions than anything else you can do. The second thing is to think about your nutrition. Get good, healthy, fresh fruit and veggies as much as you possibly can. That nutrition focus is really going to help your body have the building blocks that it needs to recover after the sessions. And an extra tip here is that a lot of my athletes find taking a protein shake directly after workouts, especially for some reason after swimming, is a really good way to help you bounce back after those workouts. So the third thing that I'd advise you to do is, if you possibly can carve the time out of your day, and I understand a lot of you can't do this, but an afternoon nap of 10 or 15 minutes even can really help your body bounce back after a training session. For those of you who've got a little bit of extra flexibility in your day and you can work in a little nap there, that can really work wonders. And the fourth tip that we've got for you is, if you can get a massage in during the week, a sports massage is really going to help flush out those waste products that are in the muscles, and it's really going to help the muscles be ready again for the next workout that you go to. So not everybody can do those every week, but if you can have it once every 2 weeks or even once every month, that's really going to help your body's muscles to recover and to be able to help you give the best you can in each of your training sessions. Okay, question from G. Lackey. What's the best way to improve on the bike? How many sessions per week and how to break down those sessions? The best way to improve your fitness on the bike for Ironman is going to be to think about the intensity and the frequency of your training. I'm going to advise you to train 3 times a week. 2 of those are going to be higher intensity interval sessions, and 1 of those sessions is going to be a longer, lower intensity aerobic ride. In those higher intensity interval sessions, I want you working about 100% of your FTP or heart rate zone 4 for blocks of about 5 minutes with a minute's recovery. And in your longer endurance ride, I just want you riding around zone 2 heart rate or about 65% of your FTP if you're a power meter user. And the aim there is just to go out and to have a long aerobic stimulus for your body so that you improve essentially the fuel supply to your body. A big part of Ironman success is going to be your body learning to use fat as a fuel, and that's predominantly going to happen by doing those longer aerobic outdoor rides. The shorter, higher intensity interval rides are going to be the thing that, if you like, increases the size of your engine and allows you to go faster for the same effort. Question from Sophie O'Brien. Heart rate training or pace for running? I always advise my athletes to train according to run pace rather than run heart rate. Now the caveat here is we set run pace training very accurately based on a recent run race result. That way we know that the run pace that you're training at is specific to the aspect of your physiology that we're trying to improve at the time. Heart rate can be useful, but we're going to monitor that as we run rather than be led by it. Now to expand on that, heart rate can be affected by 4 factors. If it's really hot, it's often going to make your heart rate much higher for a given pace. If you've had caffeine, it can make your heart rate higher. If you're really dehydrated, it can make your heart rate higher. And if you get excited in a race, it can make your heart rate higher. So those 4 aspects mean that just being led by heart rate alone, even though they're usually a good guide, you're going to be much more accurate running to paces that are set relative to a recent run race result. We get our athletes to use the VDOT system. You can go away and Google Jack Daniels VDOT running system. He's got a great system of telling you exactly how hard and how fast to run at given sessions relative to your specific run fitness right now. So that's the key to this. And for overall Ironman success, what we're looking for is for you to be doing the majority of your runs at a pace that's going to be specific to the pace that you're going to be running at come Ironman race day. Question from Jackie Triathlon. How would you differentiate off-season training if you have only 6 hours a week available time to train? If you only have 6 hours a week to train during the off-season, I'm going to advise you to use this in the way that's most directly going to reduce your race time come Ironman race day. And for most people, that's going to be spending the majority of their training time on the bike during this period, because that's what's most directly going to impact our Ironman race day performance. So 6 hours broken down might look something like 3 sessions a week on the bike, 2 of an hour-long interval training sessions, a third session that's longer and steadier of say 90 minutes. I'd advise 3 runs a week, 2 shorter ones of 30 minutes and a longer run of about an hour. Again, all of those runs can be steady and aerobic because you're already doing the hard work on the bike. And the last 30 minutes of your 6 hour budget here, I'd advise you to get in the pool and spend that time doing specific swim drills that are going to improve your swim stroke. Now, I've made some assumptions during this. I've made the assumption that you can already swim well enough that you're confident you're going to beat the cutoff. If that's not the case, we're going to have to reallocate some of your time during the off season to getting swim lessons to get you to the point where your freestyle stroke is strong enough that you're confident you're going to be able to swim the distance and meet the cutoff. So that's the first priority. All that being said, if that's the case for you already, I still think that spending the majority of your 6 hour budget then on initially bike training and then underpinning that with steady running is the way to go to help you get the best overall improvement out of your limited time during the off season. Okay, a question from Aaron Reese 91. For a shift worker, what's most important when scheduling training? Is it weakest or strongest? For shift workers, I think the most important thing you can do is to schedule your sleep and your recovery first. Before you even think about training, make sure that you're finding a way that you can get adequate sleep to recover from the nature of the shift work you're doing so that you recover to be able to work again. And that's the most important building block for you. I think it's less about which sport you do relative to your shift work and more about when you schedule the intensity. So schedule the most intense sessions for when you are most recovered and the least intense sessions, the easy steady sessions or the technique sessions around when you're most tired. And that way you can make sure that you can give, if you like, the best attention to the sessions that are going to give you the biggest bang for your training buck while still recovering in time to be able to work and most importantly get your body to sleep on time so that you can recover well enough to be able to train and work again the next day. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks very much for joining us. I hope you found these answers interesting and helpful. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and keep an eye on Ironman Europe's Instagram feed where you'll have a chance to ask more of these questions and I'll answer the questions for you and hopefully help you along your way to your Ironman journey. There's more links in the description if you want to find out more about our coaching, but for now, thanks very much, have a safe training and racing week and we'll catch up with you again soon.